Good afternoon. I'm here. Oh, I'm a few minutes late. Hello, and welcome to Frankenstein Tea, a daily short story program for adult listeners. I think I should stress that today, adult listeners. I think there might be adult language in this. Hold on, let me get my computer silenced so it doesn't beep and bobble while I'm on here. Adult stories, adult language, adult themes, adult context, authors who write for adults. They may write for other genres as well, but I read the adult stories. There's my dad. Hi, Dad. Lots of snow, huh, Dad? Boy, snow. We're not having snow. We have no snow left on Block Island. It was bright sunny this morning. It looks still sunny out there. I'm looking and, I can see, it looks like the clouds are coming in, but it was bright sun this morning. It was nice. Got some chores done, came to work, having a pretty good day at work. Went quick. My dad says no penguins. I know, these are my computer glasses. You're right, Dad. I didn't have a chance to change them. I know they're funky, but I'm not going to read from the computer today. I'm going to read from a book, so it shouldn't be too funky. I told the Judy's great granddaughter put the penguins on my glasses. I told her we were going to have to find something because spring was coming. And she looked right at me. She's a kindergartner. And she looked right at me and she said, "Not yet. Penguins are good." I said, "Yeah, okay, Jada, penguins it is." Oh, boy. All right. So I think I'm going to read two stories today. So I'm going to get started. I really, really like this first story in this book. So I want to read it, but it's short. And so I think I'll read you a second. So, stay for what you'd like, listen to what you'd like. I'm going to be reading two stories by Kathleen Collins. This book by Kathleen Collins is Whatever Happened to Interracial Love, has a foreword by Elizabeth Alexander. Kathleen Collins. She wrote a while ago, she's this is her. Cute. She's passed away. Let's see. This book is published by HarperCollins. Let's see. When was it published? By Echo in 2016 by her estate. Okay. So I'm going to read the first story in this collection of Kathleen Collins. I've read this a few times in preparation to read this to you. And I guess I didn't do it because it is quite short. Sometimes, you've heard me say before, sometimes it's nice to have a short one on a day when I'm particularly busy or something. Who knows when I need a short one. But so this one is short, but I don't want to hold it off anymore. So I'm going to read this one and then I'm going to read another. And the other I have only skimmed. I haven't read through, but I like it. I like what I've read. So hopefully I can read it and we can get through it. But this particular story by Kathleen Collins is titled Exteriors. Okay, it's a 6th-floor walk-up. 3 rooms in the front, bathtub in the kitchen, roaches on the walls, a cubbyhole of a John with a stained glass window. The light? They've got light up the butt. It's the tallest building on the block, facing nothing but rooftops and sun. Okay, let's light it for night. I want a spot on that big double bed that takes up most of the room. And I want a little one on that burlap night table. Okay, now light that work table with all those notebooks and papers and stuff. Good. And put a spot on those pillows made up to look like a couch. Good. Now let's have a nice soft gel on the young man composing his poems or reading at his work table. And another soft one for the young woman standing by the stove killing roaches. Okay, now backlight the two of them asleep in the big double bed with that blue and white comforter over them. Nice touch. Okay, now while they're asleep, put a spot on the young woman smiling in that photograph taken on the roof of the building, and on the young man smoking a pipe in that photograph taken in the black rocking chair. And be sure to light the two of them hugging each other in that photograph taken in the park around the corner. Good. Now, backlight the young woman as she lifts that enamel counter covering the bathtub and put a little light on him undressing her and a nice soft arc on the two of them nude in the doorway. Nice touch. Now dim the light. He's picking at her and teasing her. No, take it way down. She looks too anxious and sad. Keep it down. He looks too restless and angry. Down some more. She's just trying to please him. It can stay down. She's just waiting at the window. No, on second thought, kill it. He won't come in before morning. Okay, now find a nice low level while they're lying without speaking. No, kill it. There's too much silence and pain. Now, fog it slightly when he comes back in the evening and keep it dim while they sit on the bed. Now, how about a nice blue gel when he tells her it's over? Good. Now go for a little fog while she tries not to cry. Good. Now take it up on him a little while he watches her coldly, then up on her when she asks him to stay. Nice. Now down a bit while it settles between them and keep it down while he watches her. Just watches her. Then fade him to black and leave her in the shadow while she looks for the feelings that lit up the room. That was Exteriors. This short story by Kathleen Collins is titled Of Poets, Galleries, New York Passages. What did he look like then? Like an Irish poet? Thin, dark curly hair? He was always broke, always running around Paris borrowing money from someone in the 16th arrondissement. He was handsome, remarkable for his suits, his elegant open shirts, a thin little mouth that spoke a good spattering of any language on any subject. Considered witty. He was certainly considered witty, always in good taste. They were sitting around the dinner table in a huge Soho loft, one of those former machine shops now stripped, windows thrown open to the sun, ingenuous rooms carved out of cavernous space, a cozy kitchen with clever cupboards, something rough still in the walls, the too abundant space concealing old sprinklers and untidy ceilings. There were three of them. Ellen, who tomorrow would have her first one-woman show. Mickey, a painter of reasonable standing, though remarkable talent. Louise, a friend from the country. The friend to whom they constantly referred was Eduardo, who had come to dinner the night before and slapped Louise rather viciously across the face. He's become quite mad, Mickey said, though he's always had it in him. Once, in Paris, he chased me out of a restaurant for some chance remark that offended him, caught up with me and clawed my face with his nails. He smiled at Louise. But you, why, you've always been the princess for him. It's always Louise who can do no wrong. He keeps you fresh, like the one unsoiled memory dating all the way back to Paris. Louise became something. That's his favorite way of putting it. Louise became something. Ellen laughed. Her laughter had the irrelevant taint of a stranger to the past. as indeed she was. Her affection for Mickey was the only link to the trio that held between them common memories of 15 odd years of friendship. Eduardo's a shit, she said. I know you forgive him because you remember the curly hair, the elegant, poverty stricken days, but really, he's a shit. A shit, Mickey said, giving the idea careful consideration. Do you agree? He asked Louise. He used to write poems. Louise sighed. Aw, come off it, honey, Ellen said and laughed. No one's ever seen a line. Oh, he drops his little hints. When he's in one of his sensitive moods, he alludes to quiet meanderings down Poetry Lane. And I say, listen, Eduardo, one of my real pleasures would be to read a bit of your quiet verse. I'd love it. Believe me, I'd love it. Then he sighs. Yes, perhaps one day we shall, he says, and folds that subject neatly back into his too tight pants. Ellen can be a bit rough when it comes to Eduardo, Mickey apologized, hugging Louise. Listen, Louise, you have any idea how good it is to see you? You never set foot outside that happily ever after in suburbia. And here, we've got you for 3 whole days in New York. You'll see Ellen's show. We'll smuggle you in and out of a few choice bars. We'll try to overlook last night's brutal mugging. How's your eye? I can feel it, Louise answered gently. You look good, Mickey soothed. You look young with your 5 children, your poems and plays. You have the fertile look of someone happy ever after. You really got this thing about my living in the country, Louise laughed. It's so healthy, it reeks of healthiness, fresh air and trees, little budding brooks and howling children. I have nowhere near 5 children, Louise insisted. But you're always producing books, plays, children. All you do is sprawl out under trees and breed, Mickey laughed. Louise smiled. You're just attached to this idea that I lead a simple existence. Listen, dearie, Ellen interrupted. You should hear Eduardo on the subject of your graceful existence. Louise has achieved a life. That's one of his favorite expressions about you. Louise has taken the measure of things and achieved a life. She lit another cigarette. She was a short, dark woman with ravenous eyes and the stubby, fat fingers that often belong to painters. There was almost a physical resemblance between her and Mickey. He, too, was short, with pale, scruffy good looks, a boyish effect, brash and intent. Beside them, Louise had a handsome, placid surface. Mickey hugged Louise again. When he was a little drunk, his affectionate need to touch and handle became more intense. You're so fertile. I feel if I squeeze you too hard, you'll reproduce right here at the table. Louise burst out laughing. What a lot of ideas you hang around me. Why do you burden me with your ideas about me? You don't admit you're fertile? He insisted. I'm not a cow. She laughed again. Then you refuse to acknowledge a certain pastoral earthiness, he persisted. Good God, Louise cried. I'm just an old friend who happens to live in the country. Perhaps I'm a shade more at ease than I might be if I still lived in New York. Louise lowered her head and drank her wine. Mickey continued to stare at her with intense affection. Ellen busied herself preparing Turkish coffee and dessert. Tell me more about Eduardo, Louise asked quietly. There's the museum, Mickey answered. Everyone says they'd like to drop him, but they keep him on as 4th curator or some such nonsense. He's invited to the right openings. Usually with Henrietta, Ellen added. He's made a bit of a name for himself, Mickey continued. He collects paintings, does it with a bit of splash, too. He's got a few of mine, 2 of my best, in fact. How do you feel about his owning your work? Louise asked. He makes a very big deal about it, Mickey answered irritably. Don't misunderstand. Other people buy my work, but with him, I'm forced to remember it frequently. Eduardo tallies things up, Ellen said. Listen, if he doesn't buy something from you, from your show, you'll be in a state, Mickey said to her. Not quite that intense, Ellen answered. It's Ricardo who's counting on it. Ricardo's her gallery owner, Mickey explained to Louise. They're like high-class salesmen. Art has become a fashion show. Chic openings, brittle cocktail parties, the decorative impulse reigns. He looked at Ellen. I'm not talking about you. Her work is good, the real thing, he said to Louise. Then he raised his glass. A toast to Ellen's show. It's a good gallery, and that still means something in New York. Ellen waved her glass in the air. It means all the parasites come out to suck your blood, dearie. That's exactly what it means. You're tough, Mickey said to her. She's a tough lady, he added to Louise. Look who's talking, Ellen laughed. The Lone Ranger of the art world. Mickey lunged forward into Ellen's face. Is that how I'm regarded? That is exactly how you're regarded, and you love it. Ellen laughed again. She thinks she knows me, Mickey said to Louise. She's a witch. Though it's true, I'm not interested in fashion. Nobody could accuse you of that, dearie, Ellen said. All those stubborn little fingers know how to do is paint well. He's a genius, she added to Louise. And she's a witch, Mickey laughed, a raucous undercurrent of wine-sated delight taking hold. I'm in the presence of two abundantly fertile women, he roared. Oh, God, Ellen groaned. I feel like a giant duck. Louise broke into hysterics. Can you believe this routine? Ellen said to her. The woman giggled. Mickey stared at them as if at some dazzling unknown species. Look at the two of you, he fairly shouted. You create, you breed, you smile, you even hold on to your glamour. And at midnight we turn back into witches, Ellen chuckled. We make wonderful photographs, Louise vowed luxuriously. Listen, dearie, Ellen continued. I bet right now Eduardo's got that fast left to your eye incarnated in some delicate lyric sonata. The light that fell on Louise is gone. Louise flourished dramatically. A fitting epitaph to your fall from grace, Ellen approved, and the woman laughed outright. Mickey continued to stare at them with fascination. You've had husbands, he suddenly said. We have, they chimed back instinctively, overcome by a kind of giddy, inexplicable hysteria. Yours was a poet, Mickey said to Louise. Louise nodded, with one of those handsome, abstract faces that go well with poets. You once told Eduardo you didn't approve of my husband, she said and giggled. He told you that? Over one of those dinners where he was concerned about the state of my life, he said to me, Mickey has never approved of your husband. And how do you feel about that? It struck me. Eduardo has a way of declaring his opinions, and obviously he shared that one, as though they were facts and everything should change accordingly. In a word, it was time I divorced my husband at once. But you didn't. Not for many years, though it was soon after that I decided to move to the country and began the life that Eduardo so admires. Louise smiled. It isn't a lie. Louise lives on excellent terms with her solitude, Ellen giggled. Is that Eduardo talking? Louise laughed. As close as I could get without walking through that door. I'm a photograph. Royalty. But I've got a black eye. Louise has achieved a certain humility, Ellen bowed grandly. it was time for Luis to achieve a certain humility. Kathleen Collins, from her short story collection, Whatever Happened to Interracial Love? It's a nice little book. Okay, that was 2 stories for today. Friday afternoon, it's kind of like a party, right? It's Friday? Yeah. Friday afternoon, 2 short stories for Frankenstein Tea. Thanks so much for coming. I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode. Everyone have a great afternoon. Be safe. Stay well. Eat your veggies. Eat your fruit. Sleep right. Take a shower. Call someone you love. Get outside. Think kind thoughts about yourself and others. Thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.